This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1127, Your Personal Savings Rate, the Most Important Thing You Can Track, by the Finance Twins of thefinancetwins.com. And I'm Dan, and I'm your host here on the podcast. This is where I read to you from some of the very best personal finance blogs on the planet, and hope your week has been great so far. Happy Friday to you, and thanks so much for listening in. And hey, if you didn't know about this, we give away books on Instagram pretty frequently, so if you're not yet following us on there, you can find us at Old Podcast. But for now, let's get to today's post from the Finance Twins as we optimize your life. Your Personal Savings Rate, the Most Important Thing You Can Track, by the Finance Twins of thefinancetwins.com. We've written about the importance of budgeting and about how critical it is to understand how much money you need for retirement. We've even written about how being intentional with your money and prioritizing experiences over physical products will make you happier. But none of those things are as important as your personal savings rate. If you only take one piece of advice from us, let it be this. Track your monthly personal savings rate and get it as high as you can. This simple metric will determine whether you'll have a comfortable retirement or whether you'll have to work until your last days. This sounds crazy, right? Why would your monthly personal savings rate be more important than, say, your salary? But before we can explain the reason why, let's make sure you know what we mean by monthly personal savings rate. What does monthly personal savings rate even mean? Let's all get on the same page. When we refer to your monthly personal savings rate, we are referring to the proportion of your after-tax income that you save or invest. For example, let's assume you earn $2,000 in after-tax income and you contribute $300 to a 401k, $200 to a Roth IRA, and $50 to your savings or emergency fund. That's a total of $550 that you're saving or investing. The remaining $1,450 is going to pay your rent, buy your groceries, clothes, and cover your utilities and other everyday expenses. If we take the $550 and divide it by your post-tax income of $2,000, we get a monthly personal savings rate of $550 divided by 2,000, which equals 27.5%. Personal finance is 99% behavioral. Personal finance guru Dave Ramsey famously says that personal finance is 20% finance and 80% behavioral. We think he's lowballing the behavioral component. Behavior is everything. The choices you make day in and day out are what will determine how well you live. The rest is determined by luck and the circumstances you find yourself in at birth. Not everyone starts life in the same place, so all you can do is control your behaviors within your environment. The reason that tracking your personal savings rate is so powerful is that it serves as a nice summary of your behaviors. If you tell me that you bring home $250K per year but only save $20K annually, which is an 8% personal savings rate, then I'll know you're probably not going to be able to retire the way someone earning $250K a year should be able to, unless you make some big behavioral changes. Why is the personal savings rate so important? Aside from being a good way to diagnose personal finance problems, the personal savings rate is important for several reasons. One, your personal savings rate establishes your routine spending patterns, and old habits die hard. Let's take two people who have the same exact job and the same salary. Person 1 has a personal savings rate of 0% and lives paycheck to paycheck. Person 2 has a personal savings rate of 15%. If we asked both of them to increase their personal savings rate by 5% to 5% for person 1 and 20% for person 2, who do you think would have an easier time? At first glance, you might think person 1 will have a much easier time saving only 5%. After all, they eat at restaurants or order food so often that if they can simply just prepare more of their own meals at home or pack lunches for work, they'll get there easily. Person 2 has less things to cut out, right? Well, maybe it's not that clear-cut. We've seen time and time again that for most people, going from 15% to 20% for a prolonged period of time is actually easier than going from 0% to 5%. Getting started is always the hardest part. Even though person 2 has less things to cut out, they're already used to cutting back on the things they don't need. Cutting one more thing will be no problem. They never got used to buying a sandwich at the local deli for lunch every day. They never got used to the $35 fitness class. Cutting the cable bill will be easier for them since they already understand the impact of saving money. They'll have the motivation, confidence, and drive to make this change. There's a reason the saying goes, old habits die hard. It's because it's true. The more you get used to something, the harder it will be to give it up. For example, when Camilo started his career as an investment banker in Manhattan, he rarely left the office before midnight. As a result, his company would buy the team dinners every single night. Some of his colleagues had worked there for several years and never had the time or the need to prepare their own dinner. Imagine going years without cooking. As embarrassing as it is to admit, after Camilo left Wall Street, it was super hard for him to start cooking his dinner at night because he was so used to just ordering in. He literally struggled to do something that the majority of people do on a daily basis. Now that it's been several years, we can laugh about it, but it's the perfect example of how hard it is to make behavioral changes. As an added benefit, doing something like exercising instead of watching TV after you cut the cable bill, or cooking at home instead of eating at restaurants is much better for your health. That means you'll get more years to enjoy your future grandkids, or to pursue a hobby you love, or to simply enjoy more years without the pain and ailments of being unhealthy as you age. 2. The more you save, the less money you'll actually need. Once you've established that you can live and be happier spending less of your money, you'll actually need to save less for retirement since you'll be spending less money. This means that during your retirement, you'll have the ability to do the things you always dreamt of doing, like traveling to see the Great Pyramid or the Taj Mahal. Or maybe you have dreams of selling your house and traveling the country in an RV. Or you simply have a charity you're passionate about that you want to donate some of your money to. Maybe you have grandchildren who you want to help graduate from college debt-free. Whatever your dreams are, they'll be easier to attain if you limit the amount you spend earlier in life. Even if your goal is to spend every single penny and live lavishly during retirement, spending less during your working years will help you do that. This isn't about spending as little as possible. It's about realizing you can be just as happy, if not happier, by spending less than you thought you could. After all, there are more important things in life than money. Remember, by focusing on being wealthy instead of living rich, you'll be happier. 3. Having a high personal savings rate establishes solid fiscal skills. If you are able to live within your means, spend in moderation, and invest wisely, you've established financial skills that you'll be able to pass on to your loved ones. The easiest way to boost your ability to save is to build a budget. Our step-by-step guide to budgeting, which is linked in this post, is the perfect place to get started. So if you have a high personal savings rate, chances are you're budgeting, investing for the future, and making wise money decisions. But doesn't having a high net worth also do the same? Well, not always. For example, you could have someone who spends all of their money and lives paycheck to paycheck, but received a big inheritance. If they look at their net worth, they might think they're killing the game, until time passes and they've squandered it. Tracking their personal savings rate would show them that they are in trouble early. So what's a good personal savings rate? We always recommend a monthly personal savings rate target of 15% of your after-tax pay. We've heard some people say that they receive an end-of-year bonus, so their savings might be lumpy throughout the year. As long as you hit your personal savings rate target over the year, that's okay. The goal is just to make sure you are thoughtful about how and when you are saving and investing your money. How can I increase my personal savings rate? This is where the rubber hits the road. Here are a few ideas to get you started. 1. Build and stick to a monthly budget. We can't stress this enough. 2. Cut your cable bill. 3. Switch to Cricket or another low-cost cell phone carrier. 4. Find a support group who will encourage you as you change your habits. 5. Email us and ask for help. And 6. Take a deep breath. You've got this. You just listened to the post titled Your Personal Savings Rate, the Most Important Thing You Can Track by the Finance Twins of theFinanceTwins.com. Okay, that's going to do it for today here at Optimal Finance Daily. Hope you are having a great day and that your weekend's off to a solid start. I thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to be back here with you tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.